All right, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. I'm your host, Chuck Leonard. Let's bring in our next guest, one of the sponsors of the show, Philip Bondi. How's it going, bud?
Doing really well today.
Nice to see you. How's the total transformation thing coming along?
It's coming along great, actually. In fact, a client of mine, she's going to kill me for saying this, but she, since last week, has lost 5 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she sent me a text and she's like, I was getting kind of depressed. It had been a couple weeks, nothing had happened. Then she's like, bam, then 5 pounds just came off like that.
And we're not talking about starving yourself
no,
5 pounds
absolutely not,
or a quick water weight going away, right? This is from her working out.
Yeah, and actually what's cool is I actually had to have her start eating a little bit more. She actually wasn't eating enough. And
I get that way. Like
yes.
I started doing these protein shakes because I just wasn't getting enough. I run and run and run. Mm-hmm. Sometimes forget to eat, don't have the time, not in the right place, or what. So these protein shakes are helping me out. But 5 pounds in a week's great.
Yeah, and like
for a woman that's trying to lose weight, man, that's just got to be.
Oh yeah, and to look at her, because I actually met her way before she ever worked with me as a client. I met her back when I taught Zumba at a facility called Z Factor. And she at that time was about 70 pounds heavier than she is now.
Wow.
And just to see somebody, start to lose weight slowly and surely, and then they start doing things different. They start to eat better. They start to, make sure they're getting enough calories. They start tracking. They start exercising. They start doing different types of exercise. And to see the things that they couldn't do, and now to see the excitement they have when they can do them. Like, she couldn't jump before. Right. She couldn't do a jumping jack. Now she's like, that's like her favorite thing to do is high knees and jumping jacks because she could never do it before. So it's really, really cool.
You say tracking. And that's an important one there.
The accountability, really, with the tracking.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they kind of have a vague idea of what they eat and a vague idea of what they do in the gym. But really, what our minds like to play a little game on us where our mind likes to forget all the bad things we do and remember all the good things. So people tell me, yeah, right, no, not us. So people will actually say like, I'll ask them what do they have for lunch, and they'll say, well, all I had was a sandwich and I had some baked chips or something. Then you get them thinking more, and then they say, well, I had a candy bar at 2. Then they're like, and then I had a soda at 10. So when you start thinking, there's a lot more there that people don't realize. So I'm all about, food logging. I know it's a pain in the butt, but it really does help because you can get a visual on what you're eating all the time. And then I like to track gym progress too. I tell people, keep a journal. And, if you were deadlifting or you were squatting at a certain weight and then, the next week you do more, write it down. Because then you're tracking and you can actually visualize that progress.
I'm kind of self-actualizing too. You're
yes.
I did it.
I love that word. Yeah, it's totally self-actualizing. Absolutely. 5-week intervention program. And that's kind of an intro. That's really good for people that really have no clue or are really just not active at all. It's a great first step. It's fairly inexpensive. And you just jump in. You do your 5 weeks in a group. It's 3 days a week with a 4th support session. If that doesn't really call to you or your schedule's kind of weird, you can't make the times, then you can do the one-on-one program, which is the same program, same layout, just done by yourself. But essentially you start off with an initial body weight and body fat check-in. So that's the hardest part for people. They don't want to know their body fat. They don't want to know how much they weigh. But I just take it down so we get an idea of where we're starting baseline. Then we do a problem behavior identification. So you say, okay, I don't like that I drink soda 3 times a day. Well, that's a problem behavior, okay? So you identify that behavior, and then you journal for about a week every time you drink a soda. What's going on around me? What am I feeling? What, am I stressed out? What time of day is it? All this kind of stuff. And you start to see patterns. You start to see, okay, every time I get a soda, I feel stressed out and I'm at work, okay? So that's a pattern. Once you find a pattern, then you set a goal, that's time sensitive, specific, measurable, all that good stuff. And then once you've set your goal, then you come up with some techniques, some behavioral techniques that will help you to not drink soda. For instance, I had a client always drank soda at work, always went to a soda. His technique was always keep a water bottle in his hand and keep it where he can see it, because it gave him a visual reminder that he needed to A, drink water. He felt like he had something in his hand, which is the soda can. It was replacing the soda can. And it was something that he could do that was also drinking. So he was already in the habit of drinking something and holding something in his hand. So he's essentially just replacing the soda with the water. And it's actually worked great for him. He hasn't really been picking up soda. He's been doing really well.
Another good way would be if you're constantly buying the sodas, if you're buying the big ones, just start buying a smaller one, right?
Exactly. It compartmentalize and do it in steps. Because if you do it in steps, studies have shown that you tend to do better long term because you're not changing everything at once.
No cold turkey.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm all about sustainability. So if you can't sustain a major behavior change in 5 weeks, then do it in 3 months and do it a little bit slower. Do what's sustainable for you.
Awesome. Where's your studio?
We are at Blackstone and Herndon. We are on the southeast corner. There's a Mako Auto Body.
Right.
We're right next to that. And it's called One-on-One Personal Training in Pilates. It's myself and 3 other trainers that work there. And I specialize in the behavior change kind of stuff. So I do killer workouts. We hit it hard, but also I want to take care of some of the extra stuff, the stuff that's going on in your life that's causing the problem. That way you don't have to keep coming back to me every year, because you're like, okay, I lost weight, but I gained it back.
And summer's coming up, and you want to look good, right?
Exactly. Yes. Let's be real. We all want to look better than we do.
How do they get a hold of you, Phil?
A couple ways. Cell phone number is 559-313-2037. You can also email me at fitnesswithphilipbondi@gmail.com. And then you can also go to my website, which is www.bfitfresno.com, and then you can submit a contact form through there. So really, whatever way is most convenient for you out there listening, I answer all 3 of those. So.
Get a hold of Philip Bondi. Not only is he a good personal trainer, he's a good dude.